Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's Matthew with Watty's channel, bringing you the Mattel Retros or Mattel Creations Wave 1 review. So this would be the 11th series in the Mattel Retro line altogether. Now, as you guys already know, the first 10 series were released back in 2016 through 2019 until the figures were discontinued for a 3-year period. And then, of course, Mattel Creations brought them back in 2022 with the first of their wave of figures. Now, Wave 1 or Series 11, 2022 release, kind of has mixed reviews for me. There are a couple of really phenomenal figures I absolutely love, and then the other two are they're average. One of them is a little bit above average. The other one might be a little bit below average. And per usual, we'll take a look at each figure, both the carded and loose figures, and kind of reflect on their actions and what have you. So, first figure we're going to look at is Cowboy Bob Orton. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love this figure. When I kind of think about Bob Orton, I think about that stupid, horrific LJN figure with the hand like this. Like, what is that? That is one of the worst LJN figures ever created. Absolute trash figure that's basically unplayable. I mean, we're talking LJN Rick Rude terrible. This figure is absolutely amazing. One of the things that I really love about this particular figure, and it's what I feel about most of these figures, and that's the hat. So, when you look at figures like Papa Shango from Hasbro, when you're looking at The Undertaker, when you're looking at Bart Gunn and Billy Gunn, you know, guys like that, I love the fact that the hat is built onto the figure. Now, occasionally, especially with like The Undertaker, you'll see little chips around the brim of the hat, and that sucks because it destroys the figure overall. But the fact that you don't have to worry about losing your accessories and you have that amazing look to the figure at all times, incredible. Bob Orton, I love the fact that they keep that going strong. You don't have a replaceable, removable, and possible accessory that can become lost over time. And you know what? Again, they're children's play toys. They're action figures. That is their intended purpose. Yes, I think probably more than half of the people that actually buy these figures are probably adult collectors because they want to reminisce about, you know, their childhood, their favorite toy line, the Hasbros, my favorite toy line, the Hasbros, and getting these kind of keeps that trend, keeps that pattern going with these 4.5 inch figures, cartoony looking, great playability to them, and they're just, you know, you fit in your hand, they're easy to handle. Not only does the hat accessory make the figure stand out, but even with the trunks and knee pads, boots, color of this is incredible. And he has, again, a very playable and very fun action feature. I think with the Mattel Retros, I like the extended arm a little bit more than what I would with the Hasbros. I still love the extended arm on the Hasbros, but you know, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that even though I don't despise it, it just never was my favorite because, you know, they can become loose over time, and then they become floppy in the wind, and it just sucks. But a perfect playable figure, aesthetically pleasing, all around just a 10 out of 10 figure. Amazing. I absolutely love the Bob Orton figure. And of course, with the Mattel Creations, they kind of give you this brand new, you know, background compared to what you got in the past. I like the other ones better because at least the figures were filled in with Digicolor. Now they're just simply black and white. It's just so annoying. But you know, at least you can see who's supposed to be in that series. At least you can see the action features, so that's, you know, something. But what do you notice? Still, not on any one of these cards do they put a series number. Not one single card, and it's so frustrating. I mean, at this point, now that I'm fully aware of Mattel Creations and with the Mattel Retros, as they come out, you know, I get new notifications. So it's not like I'm gonna miss out on these when they come out. So I got my buddy Rob. Occasionally, he'll reach out to me like, "Hey, have you seen that this figure's coming out?" And I wouldn't know about something, and basically, his referral helps me pick something up so I don't miss out on it. So, with friends and with notifications and stuff, I'm able to keep in touch with what's happening with the figure lines. Bob Orton, like I said, is definitely one of the better figures in the line. Next one up is Rody Piper. Now I was kind of going through the storage room where I had that shelf with all my carded Mattel Retros, and I was pulling these figures out, and I'm like, wait a minute, I only have a Mr. T and a Bob Orton. Like, what's going on with that? And I knew I had all four of them encased in the little protective cases, but I have no idea where the other two figures are. So behind this white shelf, behind the figures, I have more carded figures in a box that they came in. So I just pulled out two more figures so I can keep them together. Rody Piper. You know that the Hasbro Rody Piper is one of my least favorite figures. It's a figure I had from childhood. Rody Piper is one of my favorite personalities, one of my favorite wrestlers. I just watched They Live a few days ago. He did such an amazing job in that movie. I was so impressed. And it's one of those movies that I should have seen at some point in my life. But I just watched it on Tubi, and, for a 1980s flick, not necessarily horror, not really. Great movie. I enjoyed it immensely. The downside about the Hasbro Series 2 Rody Piper is that the feet are kind of like this. It's like a rocking chair. It's curved. And so sometimes the figure stands just fine. Most of the time, it falls over. You're constantly having to lean it up against somebody else in order for it to stand straight up. Otherwise, with the built-on kilt and everything, the figure was amazing. Great fighting pose, good uppercut punch, working action. So it's just those boots. With the new figure, is it a bonus that he's shirtless? Not really. I mean, like I said, the reason I like clothing is because it gives it more of a design. The kilt is removable, positive and negative, I guess, to an extent. I mean, it's not so loose to the point where if you're sitting there wrestling with it on, it's going to pop off, but you can remove it if you want to. Rody Piper, definitely one of the true legends of WWF. Unfortunately, his figure is at best average, at worst below average, and why? We're talking about this stupid leg kick right here. The only positive, just kind of looking at the loose figure, the only thing I could say that's a positive about this is when you have the kilt on, his leg doesn't really shoot all the way up like it's supposed to. But if you're going to go remove the kilt, that leg is going to, and it's going to be so annoying. Because what do I talk about? You're not always holding the figure by the arms. You're going to be holding it around the waist, which means your hands are going to be on the legs. And the leg is always going to kick up. Annoying as heck. If I was a child, I would never play with this. And it would kill me because I would love to wrestle with Roddy Piper. Now, if I was a kid right now, I probably wouldn't even know who Roddy Piper was. Maybe I would know the namesake, but I wouldn't have grown up with Roddy Piper otherwise. But as an adult, if I wanted to wrestle these guys, I just couldn't get any enjoyment from it. Not really. If I'm going to sit there and if I'm going to wrestle with anything, if I'm going to put a match together, Royal Rumble or whatnot, I'm grabbing my Series 2 Hasbro. When you got the guys in the ring and stuff, you can't sit there and hold 10 guys at once, so they're going to be laying down anyways. The look is mediocre to average. Is it Roddy Piper? I think if it wasn't for the kilt, I probably wouldn't be able to tell. Again, caricatures, they're basically cartoon-looking characters. They're not supposed to be 3D printed, so it still falls in line with what it's supposed to look like. Rody Piper, number 2. Sadly, I kind of feel like this wave, after a 3-year hiatus, definitely a lot of really good, solid figures in this line, but I really feel like Mattel could have done better, giving you something like really flashy, something like really popped up, but maybe they wanted to create something that they thought was inexpensive and wanted to see how well it would sell. If it sold well, then they could have continued on the line as planned. From WrestleMania 1, joining Hulk Hogan against guys like Orton and Piper and etc. We have Mr. T. Mr. T is yet another quality figure, and again, he's just another one of those guys who kind of have like, that's a little spinning motion. This one does it a little bit differently because he does like a full 360 almost. Maybe not 360, maybe 350. But that is so awesome. The arm, this one is like your Tatanka and your Texas Tornado from Hasbro. Both arms open wide, as opposed to just your one arm like Boss Man and Owen Hart, your Series 2 Crush from Hasbro, etc. Again, a quality looking figure. Looks like Mr. T. If I could hold this up to my wife and be like, hey, who is this? If she says Mr. T, you know they did a good job with this one. But I always think it's the haircut more than anything. But Mr. T, they did a fantastic job with this figure. And this is, like I said, this is just a fun figure. And with that wind up and everything, so good. What do they call this? Spinning the Fool. I like that. Spinning the Fool. And here's the back of your card. I haven't been reading off any of the Bible cards or anything, but I don't think we have to. Alright, so Mr. T, one more glance over the figure. Alright, so this next figure is not only, in my opinion, easily the best figure of the entire series, but it might be one of the top 5, top 10 figures in the entire line. Who am I talking about? Mean Gene Okerlund. And I keep saying, I think that the managers have the absolute best fighting poses, the best bodies, because your interviewer like Mean Gene Okerlund, your manager like Paul Bearer, your manager like Jimmy Hart, they all have the exact same pose. They all have that arm slamming motion action feature. And Mean Gene is just, if you talk about Vince McMahon being childhood for you, if you talk about Hulk Hogan being childhood for you, Mean Gene Okerlund is probably one of the 5 most important faces of my childhood. I absolutely love Mean Gene Okerlund. I love his interviews with Hulk Hogan. They always had the perfect chemistry together. And Mean Gene jumped into WCW with, it seems like everybody went to WCW in the mid-90s. And at a time when everyone was like trying to come to WWF for the big payday, suddenly the money was in WCW with Ted Turner. Seeing Macho Man and Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart, seeing the freaking Elizabeth and Mean Gene Okerlund and just, Jimmy Hart, all these guys just transcend, your life because they were just such important pieces to you. And, like Elizabeth, I think most guys our age would agree that Elizabeth was probably our first loves. Our first attraction, our first lust, whatever you want to call it. Mean Gene Okerlund, this is the epitome of the WWF look. I absolutely love this. And the one thing I wouldn't like, but this one ain't too bad. He does have a removable microphone. Because it sticks in the arm pretty solid, it's not necessarily going to go flying. So that one I don't mind being loose. But again, if you knock this off the shelf, that is going to pop out though. And like I said, an easy and one of the best action features, a very simple feature. Overall design and look. You throw in the head sculpt. I love this figure. Again, the best of Series 11. A top 5 at, if it's not top 5, I would have to find some way humanly possible to put Mean Gene Okerlund on the top 10 of my all-time favorite Mattel Retros. I just can't see a world where this one isn't on there. It's just a fantastic piece. Absolutely love them. Not much more I could say about Mean Gene or any of these other figures here. So, with Wave 1, 2022 is completed with your Series 11 action figures. And as you know, Series 12 does come out. Actually, Series 12 was also a 2022 release. And so far, Series 13, 14, and the ringside exclusives were all 2023 releases. And either at the end of this year or early next year, you're going to get Series 15. And you're also going to have another 4-pack of DX tag teams from Ringside Collectibles. So once I complete Series 14, I am going to look at those Ringside exclusive 4-pack figures with Hogan and Six, etc. But because they're not officially part of the retro, series, I'm going to look at them last as opposed to putting them in between. Otherwise, they would have been in between Series 13 and 14. That's okay. We'll look at them after Series 14. And once I complete that Ringside exclusive review, I'll also kind of talk about upcoming figures that are due in for Series 15 and onward. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching as always. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Who are your favorite figures? And if you have any history, you think that I should know about, again, I mean, like I said, I try and say it as much as possible. I love hearing from you guys. I love learning from you. It's helps me with my personal knowledge. It also helps me make better videos. So with all you guys who've subscribed, commented, liked the videos, as always, thank you so much, everybody. I will talk to you in the next video. Until then.